YouTube, what's going on? We're doing an unboxing today. Got a package from CB Studios, my friend down in Australia. So let's see what he sent me.
Behold, my stuff.
All right. The first and most important thing that always comes, never gonna get tired of playing that clip, is of course covers. Ash versus the Evil Dead. There are a significant amount of them because we have some orders for this year that need to get done. And while we're on top of that, there's also some flawed ones, and they have been enabled flawed. Now, what does flawed mean? Flawed means that it's not currently spoken for by someone else, and you can see why. They have little holes or things like that in them. I'm going to attempt to repair most of this. And so any flawed castings I'll be using to create some additional materials for some people. So item number one is all the covers I was waiting for. Now I can dive into that, in addition to doing my ED2s and my ED1s. All right, let's see some other goodies from CB Studios. Oh, all right, we're going to start with this. Jesus. All right, item number one, which is very important to me. I have been slowly upgrading over the course of years now my Ruby Supreme Episode 3 Darth Vader and converting it. And the thing I wanted to convert it into was originally an ESB, but I've decided to convert it into an ANH/Obi-Wan. And from the glorious CB Studios, we have some pauldrons. I really like the way this looks, so because I'm not 501st and I don't care about other people's opinion about my costume in that way, I like the way this looks, I'll keep this on it. If I don't like the way it looks, I'll paint it all black, but either way, I have the ability now to swap out my pauldrons and do something that's a little more OT for my Vader. These are freaking glorious, and I'll be attaching a hook onto these so that I can swap out. I'm going to probably put a snap system in place so that I can swap out the Episode 3 or swap in these and do either one. But overall, I'm really happy with the quality of these castings. These are beautiful. And so I can't wait to throw these onto my Vader and really progress with that. We have a lot more Vader stuff coming up, so we'll go over these in more detail as I do those mods. But step one, pauldrons. All right, next, which is also extremely important, Vader's accurate hose chain. This is what is supposed to keep Vader's cape. And so they still have these in Australia, and Kurt has a bunch of them. So he sent me a bunch so that I can replace the Ruby Supreme metal chain, which does scratch up your damn thing, with these nice plastic link guys. This is fantastic. I may cast one of these and make a silicone. I may vacuum form it and then do a silicone one, just so that I have a silicone one as well. But overall, I think this is very nice plastic. This will work just fine. So this is going to be my cape holder. This is the big Vader. This is the one that I really needed. More than the pauldrons, because you can hide the pauldrons. What you can't hide are your gloves. Unfortunately, gloves are the one thing you just can't hide when you're doing a Vader costume. These are a size large. These are Endor Finder gloves. As you know, I have large hands. But we're gonna, oh my God, that fits, well, like a glove. Look at that. Be careful not to choke on your ambitions, Director Krennic. Oh, God, those are gorgeous. This is exactly the look I was going for. Because he's my boy and because he lives, we had a beautiful arrangement where I got these. I mean, I basically robbed him. I did compensate him for these gloves, but it was essentially robbery. I mean, it was literally one step above him paying me to have these. This is phenomenal. I love this. And when I put this over the actual costume, this will fill this piece out and it'll be nice and tight. Oh, this is just gorgeous. And the left hand as well. Bloody hell, dude. That is some Vader right there. Interestingly enough, I'm sorry, this is my right hand. What am I doing? My right hand, the right hand is tighter than the left. Now, these are leather, so these will stretch. The other thing with Endor Finder gloves is you don't want to wear these around and do a lot with them because of the type of stitching they use. The stitching can come undone on an Endor Finder. So It pays to know a really good leather worker, because you constantly would have to repair Endor Finder gloves. But the other thing you can do is, if you really are just not 100% on board with what Endor Finder does, if you cut this and this out, you can slide the most important piece over a leather glove of your choosing, or a faux leather glove, and still have that look. You can glue it down with contact cement or fabric glue, and it will still look pretty solid. But these fit me great. Now, they are lined, which is going to add to the intense heat of a Darth Vader costume. I'm going to sweat my balls off. All right. While we're sticking in the Star Wars realm, now, as you guys know, I am appearing in an event coming up as Palpatine. And I was debating which version of Palpatine I wanted to do. Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot all about these. All right, we're going to hold on to those for a minute. So let's take a look at this printout before we get to that. This is a belt box for a Episode 9 Emperor Palpatine. So Episode 9 may not have been everybody's cup of tea, but I enjoyed it. It's nothing fancy. It's a basic 3D housing, and it's just fresh off a printer. It's got scan lines and the whole nine. I have really nice molds that he gave me for these buttons and these coin slots, so I could very easily replace those if I want. But for the most part, it's designed to just sort of do exactly what it does, you know, and it's really just a placeholder so that I can have an easy switch back and forth between Episode 9 and ROTJ Palpy. Now, before we go into that, oh my goodness, look at how gorgeous these are. Let's take a look at these. These are metal-plated coins of Erebor. This is actual coins of Erebor. Nice picture of Durin the Fourth, I think it's supposed to be. And you can see various coloring in the gold. This is all Hoobbit money. Here's another one. Might be another Durin. It's hard to tell, really. They didn't really tell us who the statues were of. This is a really nice piece, though. I like this. So we've got this on one side, but on the other side, we've got the Arkenstone, which is how I will display this. So that's very pretty. It's also somewhat upside down.
Upside down.
So we've got various smog money here. So this is very, very cool. This will go very nicely in a nice Lord of the Rings display. So I thought it would be really nice to do this. But you guys know I make the Thorin maps that actually work and all that without a black light or anything. I make it the same way that Weta made them. And I really did want some Erebor money, and this shit is really nice. Oh, good Lord. So this one, way down in the bottom there, it's got a stamp, and it says WBEI. So it looks like some of these, if not all of these, are official. I genuinely don't remember, but I got a nice stack of Erebor money now. Let's dive in to Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, I have been working on a very, very cool Pirates of the Caribbean display that I have not shown you guys yet because I've been waiting on this. This was the final piece that I just needed to add. Now, this is Jack's skull ring, and it's obviously not made for the movie because this was Johnny Depp's actual ring. Johnny Depp wore this ring, and this is one that he chose to wear as the character. Now, this particular piece came with a resin jewel. Kurt has replaced that jewel for me with one of those Swarovski crystals or whatever the hell you call them. So it has a much nicer look to it. I don't even know if I could get this on my finger pretty decently. So it's a decent size, but it's going in a display with the other replica rings that I've got that are master replica rings, and a really nice display. I'm going to do a whole separate video on that. But this is just the last one that I needed. It is pewter, so it is a metal ring. And despite how thin it is a pretty sturdy looking ring, and it doesn't have a hollowed out bottom, which drives me crazy on those things, so I do like that that's there. One last piece. HalloweenCostumes.com recently released a compass for Jack Sparrow. I converted that compass. I was really happy with that compass. It's mostly made of vinyl, and it'll display very nicely. But Kurt made his own, and if you haven't seen his YouTube video on that, check that out. It's gorgeous. It's made of wood, or timber, as he calls it, because he has to sound fancy. And there's real brass pieces. It's very, very impressive. So before he assembled his compass, like all good prop makers, he made molds of all his original work. And he did send me some castings of his original work. So what I'm about to show you is Kurt's original made compass. This is not a lineage compass. This is not sourced from anything other than his brain and his own hard work and research. And as I said, he did a huge, huge video on that, and it's absolutely wonderful. Good God. His castings are so flawless. Like, you can see every damn bit of detail. So he's already gone in and put the brass fitting on the back with the hook. So he did one of the more difficult things for me already. Now, there is a little nubbin in the front, and that nubbin is for a latch, which I already own. But look at already, you can see look at the detail that his casting picked up. Again, this is not flaws in the casting process. These are actual textures from the timber he used, wood, to create his compass. You can see where I'm gonna have to paint it ivory. You can see all the different pieces he's got. This is so you can screw in the bottom piece. And as we open it up, you can see that he's included a couple other pieces for me. This is, of course, one of the dials. And that little piece right under there needs to be hollowed out. I can get that taken care of because it's casted. So we got to hollow this out and do a little work on this guy. But it's cold cast, which means if I polish this, it'll probably brass up pretty nice. If not, I have a really nice pen that I can use. This is the dial, and it's textured. So what we need to do is mount a nut down here and mount this on it so it floats and moves, and then I just have to paint it up appropriately with washes and whatnot. It's a nice resin piece. Really, really nice. And the grooves are already cut out so that we can mount this. I have a piece of texture, but I don't even really need it because if you look, he's already textured the inside for me. I just have to paint the top and put the stars in. He's actually gone out of his way and done a lot of work. So this inner piece he mounted himself with a resin piece. So I don't even have to paint that. He actually really went and did a lot of the work for me, which is pretty impressive. I didn't expect him to do that much work for me. If we were to take that out, drop this in, and then if you can see, he's cut the grooves. So if we flip that and you glue it down, it'll mount flush and hold that in place. So he put it in upside down for me, but this will do that and then it will close just fine. So I put a latch on this and Bob's your uncle. Put the thing underneath, mount a little guy in the bottom. That's a compass, man. And then I have a very sturdy, very, very nice Jack Sparrow compass for my display. And of course with real brass. But overall, this is just a phenomenal casting of a compass. And it has this really nice sound. Like, outside of an actual wooden compass, I don't think you could ask for a nicer piece. It's really impressive. I mean, I've never actually seen his compass in real life because he lives, you know, and I live in America. So this is really cool. I really like this. I mean, look at the detail on that dial. I mean, there's so much going on in there. And when I finish this, I will do a side-by-side with the Halloween costumes one, which I may sell at this point because now that I've revamped that, I won't need it really. But it's a very easily modded piece, but good Lord, this is nice. I never had aspirations to really do a Jack Sparrow costume, but when you have a prop this nice, it almost makes you want to do it. Jeez, man, this is really good. I'm super impressed with this. And again, this is all scratch. He did all this himself. Look at the frickin' detail on this dial. I mean, this is all etched. That is not a print. I didn't go into a printer and print that off. That is a etched piece. I think he acid etched most of his stuff. Like, he's a freak, man. He's one of the best prop makers, literally, I've ever had the privilege of knowing. And even if I didn't know him, I would just follow his YouTube channel because he is one of the best prop makers. I know he mostly has Scream collecting on his channel right now, and it's very popular for him. and he's not really building a ton of that, but when he does break down some of his Star Wars builds, his Jack Sparrow builds, his Mr. Lordy builds, he is one of the most talented prop makers I've really ever seen. Sculpted this, molded this, cast this himself. Like, it's a brilliant sculpt. It's beautiful. Arguably, it's the best Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead cover out there. The amount of stitches that we put in is accurate to the original pull. We got a photo of the original latex pull from the mold for the movie, or excuse me, for the show, and we matched how many stitches go in and things like that. So all that's accurate. You get a Lab 78, it's really nice, but their stitch count is wrong. And there are other little details in there that, for me, that's not a detail you want to miss. You want the correct amount of stitches. You want to have the correct balance of eyes and alignment with edges of mouth and things like that, and some of the little chunks and all that. But like some of the skin detailing, that's where Kurt took some liberties to make it uniquely his. So as cool and as accurate as it is, it's also something that's immediately recognizable as a Kurt cover, and you could never pass off Kurt's cover as anybody else's. Even if you cut the flaps off and cut off the KOS part, you'd be able to spot his cover. So we've got impressive Pirates of the Caribbean gear, which I am thrilled to get into my collection. We've got Palpy gear. We've got, bloody hell, man. We've got Vader gear. I mean, that's a hell of a box. Especially when it comes. So yeah, I'm really happy. Can't wait to throw these things on my Vader. Can't wait to start putting together Palpy. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this in time for my event next week. In fact, I know I'm not.
I don't know why I tried.
This is the one I really am thrilled about because, as you guys know, I did do a battle damaged Vader, and so I'm looking to do more. But man alive, I can't wait to see what Vader looks like with these gloves, this chain, these pauldrons. It's going to be cool, man. I'm really stoked. I hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing. You never know what you're going to get when you get a package from. So if you ever get one, don't wait to open it. Don't smash my buttons, they're delicate, but if you want to gingerly touch the tip of the like button or the subscribe button, I don't actually care if you do or you don't. I'm making these videos, as I said, whether I have 100 million subscribers or one. But you will get an alert every time I post something new. I don't do them weekly. They're a little more sporadic, so sometimes those alerts will help you not miss one. Thanks, guys, for checking it out. Appreciate it. Cheers. Let your compass point you to what you want most in this world.